Hello and welcome to IASPrimers. My name is Shubhashish and you're watching today's daily news analysis. Now, as part of our initiative, I make it a point to share questions for mains answer writing practice, and you can get your answers evaluated for free, 2 answers every week. All you have to do is write handwritten answers and share it with me in the PDF format on my Telegram or WhatsApp. So anywhere. And the details, the contact details are there in the description box so that you can do. So 2 answers every week. So today I thought a lot, we could have asked a question about the care economy, but I wanted to do this thing. So this is a topic that is there in the news, 10-minute, something that is, I think, gotten the imagination of almost every one of us. So what are the ethical issues with this sort of decision? The Zomato says 10 minutes. Grover says that we'll get you food or whatever things you want, grocery, in 15 minutes. So what are the ethical concerns associated with it? So that is one. So I'm going to focus on applied ethics, that is application of ethics on businesses. Then the other thing that we're going to do is the gig economy, and again from the point of view of ethics. So today, unique. Normally we miss out on the ethics component, so I'm going to do this, GS4. Rest all is the same. These are things I have covered a bit less, and now I'm thinking that we are going more on the academic side, more on the teaching side, and somewhere I'm limiting your ability to think, imagination. And we did this also. We are suffering from poverty of imagination. So more of mentorship, more of guidance, what all things that you have to do. So changing some things now. So now we are in the front page. So first of all, we know that in Pakistan, Imran Khan had lost the no confidence motion. So Shehbaz Sharif will be the new Prime Minister of Pakistan. Now this is important because of the Sri Lankan economic crisis. So more refugees are coming to the state of Tamil Nadu. So northern Tamil Nadu, northern Sri Lanka has most of the Tamil population. So because of the difficulties that they have, they say that, see, because of the high prices, we are starving and it is very difficult for us. They are moving on to India because India is very, very close. Okay, so this. Then something to do with the COVID vaccination. Some overcharging has been going on, some confusion with reference to rates. Now, this is something I think my face would be covering. Prime Minister Modi and President Biden, USA, they are going to have a virtual summit today. And what all they're going to talk? We know, right? Ukraine issue. They're going to talk about the sanctions. Then some sort of pressure would be there on India to abide by the constraints of the sanctions that have been imposed. And yes, beyond this, the things that have been mentioned, but not, I'm pretty sure it is about Ukraine, but yes, 2+2 foreign and defense ministerial meeting is going to take place in Washington, which is virtually being done. So it doesn't matter where it is being taken up. So 2+2, I hope you know, 2 defense ministers of both the countries and foreign ministers. So defense is a key component these days of India-US relationship, and therefore this can be seen from the 2+2 thing also. Now coming on to the issue of this 10-minute delivery thing. So the risk they have to deliver your groceries in 10 minutes, right? Groceries have to be given, or this Zomato thing, you order in 10 minutes, it will be there. Somewhere it is having an ethical concern from the point of view of safety of the workers. And I think very often we have seen the rash driving that takes place. So number of accidents take place because of this. Now there is another company, Zepto. I have never heard of this earlier. So Zepto says that, see, it's not a big issue. For every 1.3 crore kilometers, these guys drive. So cumulatively 1.3 crore kilometers, we have only one accident. But then we know, they are saying the people who are working over here that see they're lying. So one issue is safety, rash driving. So it is coming at the cost of the people who are being hired, who are being, they are not even full-time workers, but rather they are working on assignment basis. or on project basis, or let me put it this way, they are working on gigs. So gigs are projects or assignments that are given by a company to them. So when they work, they will be getting the money, else they will not get the money. So no benefits, nothing as such, just purely transactional business that is going on between the two. So nothing to do with the welfare, no concern whatsoever. Okay, so safety is a concern. Then what about the mental health of the people who are there? Their mental health is being affected because they know that you have to go in 10 minutes. They have to reach wherever they have to in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So they have their own problems of their own. They have the daily pressures. Beyond this, the professional pressure. And there is every possibility that if the delivery is not done in that time limit of 10 minutes, then they will be paid less, which the companies deny. But the people say that they have been getting less money because they are not able to deliver in 10 minutes over here. Right. So there are certain concerns over here. Rest you can read the highlighted component. Okay. So there are certain concerns over here. So from the point of view of applied ethics means application of ethics to any field. In this case, we are looking at business. So this is an important component, and this is being debated. So one thing is this 10-minute delivery thing ethical or not? You're providing conveniences. Convenience are being provided, but is it justified? Is it really required? Food and grocery are not emergency items. We are getting, we're risking the lives. These people are risking the lives for providing Maggie, Atta, whatever. These are not like emergency things. What we want is an ambulance that comes in 10 minutes. So these are conveniences, right? So is it justified or not? Then Gandhiji's 7 sins. This is important. This was asked in the mains paper also. And one of the sins which Gandhiji had said was that commerce without morality is a sin. So we see commerce is going on, but morality is a question mark over here. Morality means, in this particular scenario, it means the judgment on what is right or what is wrong. So we feel it is not moral to risk a person's life for something like delivering groceries or putting so much pressure on the people, plus no additional benefits are also being provided. So commerce without morality, the only focus is on marketing. It has caught the imagination of people. So the focus is on the marketing component over here. It's very clear. Plus profits, but at the cost of who's paying the price ultimately? Them. And these accidents can be very bad also. They also are forced to go on the wrong side. We have all seen this actually. Okay. So this is there. Then they said that, see, it's a temporary thing. Ultimately, we may have delivery being done by robots or drones. So they will be doing it. So drones will be providing it. So rest is fine. So here again, you see the morality component, that welfare of the people will lose jobs because of this. So here again, you see that the moral side, the moral compass of these companies are pretty weak. Now let's do the first question. There is an emerging trend wherein new age tech startups, fine aggregator companies, be it Uber, be it these groceries, whatever, tech startups are promising doorstep deliveries, and that too in unreasonable time span. In this context, bring out the ethical concerns. So what are the ethical concerns you think? Imagine some of this you have done, some of this you have to add. So what are the ethical concerns? You see these things on a routine basis. So what do you think? So this is one part. Do you think the virtues of patience and temperance are eroding in this new age? The patience, I want it in 10 minutes. I want it fast. Everything has to be done in quick manner. And temperance, we have time. Temperance means something to do with moderation, right? So not to go into the extremes. So that is temperance. We are being more and more consumerist these days. We are being more and more materialistic these days. So temperance would mean that we reduce that tendency over here. Temperance would somewhere also means controlling our emotions, Many times we have tensions between the people who are not delivered the thing in 30 minutes or 10 minutes, and they start confronting with the delivery boys. So that is also there. So are our virtues getting eroded in these modern times, in this present context? So this is the component that you have to mention over here. Just one hint I like to give you, that you really don't have to elaborate much, because it's only 150 words, right? So, and you don't just go on with this thing. This has to be the introductory line, that this thing happening. You can give an example, sure, but more interested in the content with reference to the ethical concerns. That is the thing that needs more focus, emphasis upon. And then the patience and temperance. What I really wanted to frame was, is it making the people lazy? So I don't know if that can be pitched up, but yes, these are certain virtues for sure: patience and temperance. And virtues basically means conformance to high moral standards. So patience is a high moral standard, and temperance. Now let's do the gig economy thing. So there is a spurt of new kind of jobs, also known as gigs, in the neo-modern times, that is present times. Elaborate and state the ethical concerns associated with it. Right? So gig essentially means projects. So let's say on the project basis, Zomato is a good example, Uber is a good example of gig economy. You want work, we have work. Register on a mobile app, and you have a taxi, you provide these services. We'll pay you ultimately. Right? So it is project centric, but it is not restricted to these aggregator apps. For example, teaching profession is also moving towards the gig economy. You must have, if you are doing in the coaching industry also, you must have seen that so and so teacher is coming now, so and so teacher is coming. So they have a gig that you have, the syllabus have to be complete in so much of time. Gig. Now, and again, with anything, it could be with healthcare workers also, anything. This is becoming more and more, it is getting intensified. So we are moving away from full-time employment to that of temporary gigs. Now, definitely it has certain advantages for both the corporate companies. Right? So companies do not have to pay the full-time this thing. Plus here, more and more openings are going to come up, because those jobs are going to get freed. So more and more openings are going to come up. Plus it provides the benefit of flexibility. I don't want to do work, so fine, don't work, but you will not get paid also. So it provides flexibility over here. It allows the possibility of working from a remote location also. You don't have to relocate. And fine, so this thing is there. So one could work from remote location. One can work on it his or her own terms. Employees can define the terms over here. That's up to them. If they like it, then they will do the gig, else they will leave it. So there are certain benefits. Now there is an argument being made that care economy, for instance, now we have an editorial also, although that doesn't talk about it. The care economy, for example, be it nurses, be it healthcare workers. So this fused with gig economy is going to provide a lot of opportunities for women workers. So it will enhance the female labor force participation. So what I want to say is that female labor force participation, it's believed that it will improve. So these are the benefits. So you have to elaborate this. Then what are the concerns associated with this? The concern is that employees are hardly ever in a position to define their terms to the corporates. They're never in that position. If you don't want it, we'll give it to the other person. Right? So that flexibility thing is more with the corporates, with the companies, employers, and not with you over here. Plus, since it is a transactional interaction, that is, you're working, then you're getting paid. So there is no employee protection, no focus on the welfare of the people who are working. You don't like it, if the condition of the workplace is bad, fine, you don't work, we'll take somebody else. So no employee protections, the wages are low. Whosoever is able to work, willing to work at the lowest possible wage will get the work. So low wages are there. People are forced to work odd and long hours. What about people being working in the Uber at late night hours? And think about it, many of the corporates also, because of this, we tend to work on the later hours. And since you're working on the remote location, right, you don't have to go to your house because you're on the house. So might as well work longer hours. So that is happening these days. It is promoting the culture of hire and fire. This we always felt it was an unethical behavior, but now this is there, and somewhere it is affecting the peace and stability of the people who are working, and then they said entire society. So this is the trend that we're moving into. So this is a breakup of different people having different disadvantages over here. So from the point of view of small producers, so this thing is associated with, let's say, Zomato. So what is the impact of Zomato on small producers? So that way it is talking about. But I am talking from a different perspective altogether, right? So I'm talking about employee people and the people who are hiring from that perspective, the imbalance that is there. So this again, ethics is always about 150 words. So 100 or 150 words. Bangalore joins global network of silk cities. This is important in particular for prelims. And hope for Murshidabad to join the elite club. The problem here with this article is that I didn't know what is the elite club over here. That is which organization is providing this status of global network of silk cities, that Bangalore is already part of it. So you get this, right? Bangalore is famous for silk production. You don't have to read more about this. Now, I think that global, you find it, you search for it, but I think it is also about this UNESCO's creative cities. It could be about that thing as well. Okay, so this is there. This I really don't know. This I couldn't find. I strained my eyes like anything. No point. Okay, so this is there. So Murshidabad is going to be there. Now let us look as to what are the benefits associated with if a place or a city is associated with a particular craft. Naturally, if a particular place is associated with a particular craft, there will be more demand for that thing, specifically for that thing. We want, let's say somebody may say, we want silk only from Murshidabad, like we want the Banarsi sarees. Getting the point? So it will help in that regard. It will help with reference to tourism. It will help the workers who are working over here. Plus better quality of life for sure. So this is there, right? So Bangalore is joining. Murshidabad is set to join. Now there is some description given with reference to Murshidabad over here. It's there in the news itself. So Murshidabad started with this, the city is in West Bengal, and it was started by Murshid Quli Khan. So it was the person over here who shifted the capital from Dhaka. So Bengal's capital was Dhaka. And Murshid Quli Khan, if I'm not wrong, it is the times of Aurangzeb. So Murshid Quli Khan shifted the capital from Dhaka, which is now in Bangladesh, to West Bengal, and this place came to be known as Murshidabad. Murshid Quli Khan, Murshidabad. And it is on the east of the Bhagirathi River. So place and associated river, that information you're also getting. Now different types of silk over here. And I hope you know this, that silk is not really farmed. It is not coming from the soil, but it is coming from the cocoons of the insects over here. Right? So they release this fiber over here, and from this, they make the threads. And ultimately the cloth is weaved. The fabric is weaved over here. Now, when I was doing this, I thought Murshidabad sounds very close to Muslim. Right, just a random this thing. And I read something in the CCRT also. So Muslim. Now, Muslim a silk? No, Muslim is a kind of cotton itself. So it is a cotton. So cotton is, we have cotton cultivation, so it is coming from the soil. So cotton is a type of fiber, and muslin is a type of fabric associated with this region only, the Bengal region. And the name muslin is coming from Iraq, where this used to be made, and the place is Mosul. So from Mosul, it is coming, muslin, the term is coming over here. Odisha losing leopards to poaching. Okay, so poaching is taking place, and according to the news, 30% is for this hide and other things. 30% is coming from hides, and the 70%, the remaining is for this hunting related activities that are going on. So somewhere something needs to be done to check the issue of this. And in Odisha, about 5% of the population of the leopards have come down. Now, things to think from the examination perspective. What is the law in place? Law in place that is protecting leopards or any wildlife. Wildlife Protection Act. So they have various schedules. Schedule 1, highest protection, to Schedule 5, the lower the protection that is there. So it is coming under the higher schedules. So I didn't check this Schedule 1 or Schedule 2 over here. So this is their protection is there, and anybody who's done this, the state can take action and they could be convicted. Now they're saying, the activists who have raised concern over this, they say that the conviction rate has to increase, otherwise there is absolutely no fear at all. And you see the people that have been picked up, they will be the lower rung people. The people who are actually engaged in this activity are going scot-free. So we need to do more. The state needs to do more to protect them, to protect the animals. People at the higher levels have to be picked up. And for this, it recommends appointing special lawyers who have an expertise on wildlife. Fine, this poaching, etc. Now you have an assignment from me now. Odisha is being referred to. So Odisha, you have to see on the atlas. In Odisha, there are several national parks, biosphere reserves. So your task is now identify them on the atlas, research on the internet, and see which all rivers. Anytime, whenever there is a national park, there is always going to be a river, because river provides water, water provides life and vegetation. So for that, water has to be there. So which are the important national parks and the biosphere reserves in Odisha? So that is your homework. And read about olive ridley turtle, since we are talking about this thing also. So they are being protected and the local people are playing a very important role. So in this context also, why can't we have the local people playing a positive role in protecting the wildlife? Joint forest management, another concept. Now these are the things that you have to study. Sensitive subjects should be discussed. So this is about the education sector. And in ethics, I'm teaching ethics right now. I have a gig with ethics. So I have an assignment with ethics, internal security governance. So in between, I do your newspaper analysis also. So there is a chapter, first chapter is ethics and human interface. And within that, as per the UPSC syllabus, there is a chapter on values. And within the values, there is role of family in promoting values amongst the children. And the other one is role of schools and educational institutions in inculcating values. So this one can be linked, schools, in discussing topics that are controversial. Forget this. Forget this. This is only about the Ukraine war over here. Forget this article over here. This theme, this sentence is very important. So schools is a place where we see the teacher as the role model. And we also call it as a microcosm of the real world, because it is here that they learn to interact. They go from their protected environment, that is family, and enter into the school environment. And from school, they learn certain skills like team building, leadership, etc., which will actually play a role when they go outside into the real world, the unprotected world, where they have to work, they have to fend for themselves. Now, in this context, just from the point of view of values over here, we have the problems associated with sensitive subjects, right? So what are the sensitive subjects in our society? How about communalism? I was taking this class today, day before yesterday, and this guy says, so I said, all religions are good, have certain values. I was dictating this, and he says, no, almost all religions, write this. Please tell this, sir. Almost all religions. So very clear. There was a communal and a communal this thing within that remark over here. So somewhere the teachers, the educational institutions, schools should focus on the sensitive subjects. The family is there. For example, the other interface that the child encounters is the family, and the family would inculcate certain types of values only. But the school can play a role in moving on with the values, moving ahead with the values that are just done at the family level, but also that are important to live in with peace and harmony. So communalism, sensitizing the people about different communities, sensitizing about them about the values of love, compassion, right? So that needs to be done. Live and let live. Okay, so communalism, caste issue, a bakery, right? Tribals. So many times a tribal a gender issue. So that sensitization has to be done. There are many wrongs that may be taking place within our own households, but for us it will be normalized, especially from the perspective of the gender. So schools have to shed light on those issues and inculcate certain values that are very, very important, and the teacher should not shy away from dealing with the sensitive subjects over here. So GS4 again kind of an applied ethics only, but yes, this is directly mentioned in your syllabus. Belated pivot. Which belated pivot? It's basically a critique of the Reserve Bank of India, which has been quite quiet on the issue of high inflation that is there. So let me just quickly sum up over here. So sometime in 2015-16, there was a decision made that, see, the RBI governor should not decide the monetary policy framework by itself. Rather, it should be done by a committee comprising of the representatives of the government, some experts, and of course, the RBI people. So 6-member committee was to be there, MPC, and their responsibility, it was said that their responsibility is obviously they have to promote the growth and check the inflation. But their prime responsibility was at that time fixed at inflation targeting, because this is a goal that can be specified. Otherwise, they will say that, see, we are getting the growth, inflation is increasing, we can't do much about it. So now it has been an attempt that was made to fix the responsibility on the RBI over here with reference to inflation targeting. And what is the target that has been set? 4 to 6%. And let me put it this way, 4% plus minus 2%. So that is the upper limit is 6%. And at the present moment, we have breached that limit already. So we were at around 6.7, 6.9%. We were already there. So we have gone beyond the tolerance level that the MPC had fixed over here. Now, RBI was having a very accommodative stance on this thing. It says that, see, there are exceptional circumstances, and exceptional circumstances requires exemplary measures. So they say that, see, this is there, but still we have to promote the growth of the economy. And for growth of the economy, we have to ensure that the credit is available at the low cost, because only when the companies get credit at the low cost, so then they will have money to invest from, they will borrow the money from the bank, and from there, they will ultimately invest. So when they invest, there will be capital creation. There will be capital creation, then there will be job creation. So that was the idea. But now it says that, see, we can't ignore this anymore. The crude prices have increased. The inflation is increasing. It will go beyond our control eventually. They have remarked that in the sequence of priorities now, inflation moves before growth. That is, they are going to focus on inflation targeting. That means, even though yesterday's this thing really didn't have, they have decided to keep the key interest rates at the normal level. But we should expect the repo rate should actually increase. So the repo rates influence the rate at which the banks lend money. So that would mean that the cost of credit will become more expensive. So there will be less supply of money in the economy, and that will help address the issue of inflation. Now, if you can just comment on the statement, price stability is a necessary precondition to sustainable growth. This was the old statement that the MPC had given around 2015-16. Price stability is a necessary precondition to sustainable growth. So this, if you can comment, it will be awesome. And you can share it with me, no 2 answer limit for that. Okay. So basic thing is that, see, if the price keeps increasing, if the inflation keeps increasing, ultimately, it will affect the welfare of the people. It will lead to impoverishment. It will lead to increase in income inequality. If things get very, very expensive, it will affect the demand, overall demand. It will affect the operational cost of the companies. Things are expensive, right? They need raw materials. Raw materials are becoming expensive, and they may no longer be competitive enough in the marketplace. Maybe other countries would be doing better than us. So eventually, price stability is a must, is a necessary precondition to sustainable growth. And yes, when inflation increases, if something, let's say something you could buy at 100 rupees is now available at 110 rupees, that also means your rupee value has come down, right? So your purchasing power of that currency has come down. So that is again not sustainable. So moderate levels are fine. We want the things to get expensive. So when things get expensive, more money will change hands also. So example, if let's say you're buying something, right? So you're paying more money for that. So when you pay more money for that, that more money shall go into the hands of the people who are working over here. So their incomes will also increase. So in that sense, it is good. Moderate inflation is fine, but high rates of inflation is not good. So that is unsustainable. Getting serious about supporting the care economy. Now, what is the care economy? Care economy, by the way, I want you to read this article. This is a very good article, gives interesting perspectives, and it will help you with your GS1 preparation. So must read article for you. So care work, that's too cluttered for me to explain. So care economy, we can put it this way. I really don't have a choice, actually, I have to refer to this. Care economy, so two things could be there. Basic thing is it could be like healthcare, that is taking care of the people. Within healthcare, it is geriatric care also, that is for the elderly, and therefore the younger children also. So that healthcare. It could also mean nursing services. It could also mean domestic care, right? Domestic care, or the house help that comes, that is also part of this. Now, this care economy can be classified into further. It can be classified into further like paid work and unpaid work. Paid work is the household work, the house help that comes, that is into the paid work over here. And unpaid work is your mother, maybe housewife. So they are also working, but it is not counted. Breastfeeding, for example, it is care. The care is being done, or the cleaning of the house, it is a care being done, or cooking. It's a care being done for the household over here, but this is not paid. This is not being counted for over here. And when we look at the paid workers, majority of them, no, I'll not say majority, also about 89%, as we know, about 90% of our economy is into this informal sector or unorganized. So like them also, most of them are women, and 89% of them are working as informal workers who have a difficulty in accessing their rights. What are the rights? Good working conditions, naturally household work. Imagine the domestic help that comes. So good working conditions. She has to work. She doesn't get leave. She may not come altogether. That's a different thing, but not a formal setup of leave. She doesn't get the social benefits, the social security like normal we people will get. Like actually, even I don't get like insurance, EPF, pension. So those benefits are not provided. They keep working. They grow old. They have to rely on the children, else they will be impoverished, right? So there is nothing much can be done. Nothing has been done over here. Lots can be done, but yeah. So this is their good working conditions. The wages are unregulated. They tend to get exploited. The issues with sexual harassment at workplace, right? So these are scenarios over here, and they are being denied as they work in the informal economy. And with reference to the unpaid work, our wives, our mothers, if anyone, they are not recognized the contribution that they make over here. It is not recognized. The contributions are not really recognized. They play a very important role, but it is taken for granted. So with this reference, when we're looking at having a gender equal work, so there is this ILO summit that took place brought out its new report titled Care at Work, Investing in Care Leave and Services for More Gender Equal World of Work. So in this, it says that, see, the people who are like, let's say women are working over here, women are working in a company, plus then she comes home and then she is cooking food or whatever, tending to the family, etc. So that protection, that something additional needs to be done for the welfare of that work. Plus, we need to work on bringing an equitable society. That is, men and women they share the burden of work equally. Now, in this, we see that maternity benefits are being provided, but that is a one-time thing that associated with the pregnancy thing, and paternity is not being provided. In a country, it is not being provided, and according to the ILO also, the leave that a father may get, it's very, very less. So this again reflects the mindset that the focus on caring, the caring with respect to the family is the prime responsibility of the woman, not so much of the man over here. So that barrier is also there. So something needs to be done so that some special care leaves, maternity, paternity, these things have to be provided. These benefits have to be provided. These have to be recognized when somebody works in a formal sector. Also, when somebody works, these protections have to be, these works have to be accounted for, and for that some benefits have to be provided. That is the basic thing over here. So this is there. Now we are here. Yes. Furthermore, some crashes in factory, that should be there. The condition of the work, the working conditions of the care workers, that have to be improved. Now, many a times the care workers are employed as ad hoc care workers. That is, if there is a requirement, then they are there. Otherwise, they are not there. So there should be a sense of permanence. Now, again, ad hoc care workers is an example of gig economy. So there should be some degree of permanence. And in fact, ad hoc care workers, what about the role of the government itself? The government itself hires people on contractual basis, even though their requirement is full-time. So this is there. Good quality work environment should be there. Now, what should the government do? Well, the government should spend more. The government spends less than 1% of its GDP on care economy, and that means it's basically looking at the public healthcare expenditure. So just less than 1% is on the care economy over here. So we need to spend more so that the government spends more on the welfare of the people. Right, so that is there. Crashes in factory, more on law enforcement. So more needs to be done. Then there is a 5R approach, 5R framework that has been recommended by ILO to International Labour Organization, which is a specialized agency of the United Nations. By the way, this is important for your prelims. The themes associated with the latest summits that have taken place. So it says, first of all, we need to recognize the care economy. We need to recognize the unpaid workers, the issues and the challenges that they have. Then reduction and redistribution of unpaid work that has to be done. Redistribution means sharing the responsibilities between the couple, right? Between the spouse and the wife. Promote rewarding care workers, right? Promotes rewarding care workers with more and decent work. So the working environment should improve. And social dialogue, the focus should be on social dialogue and collective bargaining so that they can get better terms for themselves. Everybody is working for money so that they can fend for the family, provide welfare to the family. So that has to be there. So some sort of platform should be there so that they can collectively have a better deal. Otherwise, they are disadvantaged. And we need to have a human-centered and inclusive approach to the issue of care economy over here. Right, so this is there with reference to care economy. I want you to read this article from GS1. In fact, a question was asked with reference to the double burden of the middle class working woman. What is the double burden? So middle class working woman, she has to work. Middle class people, husband, wife, both have to work. Otherwise, we know the inflation, 6.6+%. So they have to work. But when they come home, the responsibility of the woman towards the care work is much more disproportionately higher as compared to the man. In fact, I think within our house also we can see that. Right. So this is it from my side. So thank you for streaming in to IASPrimers with me, Shubhashish. Bye bye. Take care and all the best.